Welcome to the art project. We're going to practice marking with sticks. We're going to do a little mark making, something I call superfluous mark making, but mark making in general, usually for the AP Studio Art class, but this would probably benefit any drawing class. So I'm going to take you through it step by step and give you a little demonstration. First of all, I'm going to put a very hard pencil, like a 6H or 4H pencil, on the end of a very long stick. The stick that I'm using is about 4 feet long, pretty long, and I'm going to hold it by the end of the stick and draw on my paper at the length of the stick. It is very difficult to control the pencil at this point, at this distance. And so what I'm drawing is that skull down there, and it's really not looking a whole lot like that skull. And because the pencil is so hard, you really can't even see the marks very well on the video. But I assure you they're there, and they're a little bit interesting because, well, they kind of look like a skull, but they aren't. So now I'm going to switch. This is a 3B, I think. A little bit harder. I'm sorry, a little bit softer pencil, or a lot softer pencil. You can use any pencils you want to. You can even use a ballpoint pen. And at this stage, I'm going to choke up a little bit on the 4-foot stick. I'm no longer at 4 feet away from it. I am now at about 2 feet away from it. And I'm going to redraw the skull. The first time that I drew it, I tried to draw as much as I could. I got a lot of information down. I probably spent about 5 minutes drawing with the very hard pencil at 4 feet. Now I'm drawing with a softer lead, and I'm a little bit closer to it, and I'm still going to try and do the best that I can to get the best possible look. Now, one thing I need to tell you is that every time I choke up a little bit on the stick and get a little bit closer to the drawing, I'm also getting a little bit closer to the object, which is the skull down there that I'm drawing. And when I do get closer to it, it changes my perspective of it. And each time my perspective changes, I try to draw the new perspective and not be guided by the old perspective. So there are literally like 3 different or 4 different drawings of the skull from 3 or 4 different views, with 3 or 4 different pencil leads. It's really fun. It's a good way to loosen up. As you can see here, I've still got it attached to the stick, but I'm not holding on to the pencil. I'm still holding on to the stick at a distance, and able to control it a little bit more here, and doing a better job of drawing the skull. Again, my view of it has changed quite a bit. I'm looking more down on it. Going to get rid of the stick here. And now I'm going to use it sort of like a dagger. I'm just holding the same pencil in my hand. You can change pencils if you want to. But this is a 6B pencil that I'm using. Very soft, good for doing shadows. And so now that I'm holding it like a dagger, I'm going to take the time to shade some stuff in a little bit better and work a little bit more on the shading and the details and try and make it look a little bit more realistic. The goal here is not realism. If it were realism, I wouldn't be using a stick. The goal here is interesting marks. So again, the goal of this is mark making, help to loosen up a little bit, not trying to make a perfect drawing. Now, I do want to think kind of like I'm making a perfect drawing. I want to attempt to put lines where they go. I'm not just scribbling. And at least not until I started shading, and then I started scribbling a little bit and shading in. But I'm not just scribbling. I am trying to draw the skull every time that I try, no matter what length the stick is. But it just gives me a lot of extra fun, crazy marks all over the place. Not scribbling, just trying to make it look the best I can. So now this is pretty funny looking. My angle on this skull was a little weird. I'm making excuses here, but you can see a lot of extra marks. But I think if you look closely, you won't notice any marks that are just straight up scribble. They are marks where I attempted to draw the skull from this view. So I'm going to show you some of the examples that my students did, show you them working on it a little bit. so you can see this in action. They're at different stages here. At the very beginning of the video, they were at the length of the stick, and now most of them have used the stick at 3 different lengths with 3 different hardnesses of lead, and they are trying to rough it out, trying to make a good piece. And this is the first one that we've done. They may do another one tomorrow or in a day or two, but here's some close-ups. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up. If you got any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section down below. Read the description for anything extra that I think of along the way, or maybe some links to get some of the pencils that we use, different hardnesses, off of Amazon. And it's really helpful if you'll share this video on your favorite social media platform, or if you have a teacher's website and you want to share it with your students or other teachers, that's extremely helpful too, and it helps me to keep putting out videos like this one. So anyway, if this is not something you want to do with your kids, I hope you at least try it yourself. So go make some art. Later.